Hello! In this video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about creating behavior trees. To help you learn this, we're going to create an AI using the behavior tree system. We're going to make it so that AI will randomly move around the map, and then when it sees the player character, it will chase and attack them. To get started, if you go to your content folder, right click and create a new folder, and just call this AI. Double click and head inside this folder, and everything we create inside of this folder will help us make our AI. The first thing we're going to do is create a controller, which is basically going to control our AI. To do this, we can just right click, go blueprint, and select blueprint class. Then if you go here where it says all classes, and look for an AI controller. So this one, and just select it, and then just call this the enemy underscore AI controller. The next thing we're going to do is create a blueprint enemy, which is going to use this AI controller. To do this, we can just right click, go blueprint class, select a character, and just call this the enemy underscore blueprint. Then if we double click and head inside here, for our enemy, if we just select the mesh and go to skeletal mesh asset, and for the time being, if we just select the SK mani mesh and just move it down, then if you go to select and rotate objects, just rotate it so it's facing this arrow. Then go to enemy blueprint self and scroll down to the pawn section. So here, and then where it says AI controller class, just select this and then select the enemy AI controller that we just made, and this will make it so this enemy will use that AI controller. We can compile and save this. And the next thing we're going to do is create our behavior tree, which will basically make our AI perform certain actions. So to create a behavior tree, we can just right click, go artificial intelligence, select behavior tree, and just call this the enemy underscore behavior tree. Then if we double click and open this up, inside of our behavior tree, we have three main panels. This first one is the behavior tree, which is basically the graph where we'll create nodes to basically make our AI perform certain actions. The second one is this details panel, which will basically display details about the nodes that we create inside of our behavior tree. And the third one is this blackboard. We're going to use this later, but this basically allows our behavior tree to basically store and hold data, which we can use later. So inside of behavior trees, there are two main things that we're going to work with: composites and tasks. If I just drag off here, it's going to say composites. The main composites we're going to use are the selector and the sequence. For the time being, if we just select sequence, I'm going to explain what this does in a second. Then the second main thing we're going to work with inside of behavior trees are tasks. If I just drag off here, and then I can go tasks, and for the time being, just select the move to tasks, and then drag off here, then go tasks, and select the wait. So these tasks will basically make it so our AI can perform certain actions. So this move to task makes it so our AI will move to a certain place, and then this wait task will make it so our AI will basically just wait. We can create our own custom tasks, which we'll do later inside of this video. So let's go over what composites do. Composites are also sometimes referred to as subtrees, and this composite is a sequence. And the way a sequence will basically work is it will perform actions in our behavior tree from the order of left to right. So you may have noticed there are these little numbers on our behavior tree. So there's one here which says 0, then there's one here which says 1, then there's one here which says 2. This basically represents the order in which our behavior tree will perform its tasks. So right now, if we gave this behavior tree to our AI, what it's going to do is first move to a location, then it's going to wait 5 seconds. So the way this sequence node will work is if for some reason my AI fails to move to a certain location, then this task will fail, then it's just going to go back up here, and then I'll try it again. If my AI successfully moves to a location, it will then do the wait task, and then it will rerun this tree. But if any of these tasks fail, then it'll basically stop there, and it won't go on to the next tasks. So that's the way this sequence composite works. So let's make it so our AI will basically move to a random location. The first thing we need to do is basically specify a location that our AI should move to. To do this, we are going to create a blackboard. So if I go here where it says new blackboard, and I'm just going to call this my enemy underscore blackboard. And then if I go here where it says blackboard, this is now my enemy blackboard, and I'm just going to go add new key, and just like vector, And for this key, just call it location. So we're going to make this Blackboard key store a location. We can just go back to our behavior tree. And then if I just select this move to, you're going to go to Blackboard key. And here we can just change this to be this location. So now I'll make it so our AI will move to the location. So whatever the location is, our AI will move to it. To specify a location that our AI should move to, we're going to use something called a service. These basically allow us to perform checks and update the Blackboard. To create a service, we can just go here where it says new service and just call this the BTT service random location. So what we're going to do is make this generate a random location for our AI to move to. Just save this, and then inside of this service, we just want to right click and look for event, receive, activation AI. So as soon as our behavior tree starts running, it's going to run this node. And what we're going to do is just drag off from controlled pawn and look for get actor location. Then from here, we just want to drag off and look for get random reachable point in radius. So for the radius, put a value of 500. So we're getting a random location within 500 units of our AI. And then we're going to store this location. To store it, we want to create a new variable and just call it Blackboard key. And for the variable type, look for Blackboard key selector. And then very important, make sure that it is instance editable. You'll see why we do that in a second. And then we just want to drag this in, get it, then drag off here and look for set value as a vector and connect from random location into here and from here into here. So this will generate a random location within 500 units of our AI's location and then store it inside of this Blackboard key. We can compile this. Then if we go back to our enemy behavior tree, just select this move to task, right click and go add service, then select the BTT service random location that we just made. Then if we just select it, because we made this Blackboard key instance editable, we can basically change what this is going to be. So if we just select it and make it the location, this will make this generate a random location and it will store it in this location in our Blackboard. Then our move to will basically make it so our AI will move to this location. Then after our AI moves to this location, it's going to wait 5 seconds and then it will repeat. So we can test this out. If I just save this, close this, and open up my enemy AI controller, we're going to go over to the event graph and event begin play. We just want to drag off here and look for run behavior tree and go to BT asset and just select the enemy behavior tree that we just made. We can compile this and this will make it so our enemy will now start running this behavior tree. If we just drag in our enemy somewhere into our level. So right now, this isn't going to work because in order for AI to move around inside of Unreal Engine, it needs a nav mesh bounds volume. So to add that, we can just go here where it says quickly add things to the project, go volumes and select nav mesh bounds volume. Move this somewhere onto the ground. So whoops, onto the ground. And if you press the P button, it'll bring up this green area. This green area basically represents where the AI can move inside of the level. Just go to select and scale objects and basically make it so this scales across the whole of the map. So now my AI can basically move around anywhere which is highlighted in green. And now if I click the play button, my AI is going to pick a random location, then it's going to wait for 5 seconds, and then it's going to move to another random location. Nice. So with that, we basically set up a simple behavior tree which uses the sequence which executes from the order of left to right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is give our AI some vision so it can detect the player character, and then when it sees the player character, we're going to make it chase them. So to do this, if we just close this and go over to our enemy AI controller, and we just want to go add and look for AI Perception. This will give our AI some sensors. Just select it, and then we're going to go to AI Perception and add a new sense, and we want to add the AI Sight config. This will give our AI vision, and there are 3 main settings that you can basically play around with. The sight radius, this basically specifies how far our AI can see. The lose sight radius, this specifies how far away a thing has to be in order for our AI to lose vision of it. And then the peripheral vision angle, this is the angle at which our AI sees. For the time being, just change this to be 45, and then we're going to go to detection by affiliation and just check detect neutrals. This will basically make it so our AI can see everything. In order to have it working with detecting enemies, we have to kind of code a whole different system. So just enable this and then go compile, save, and then to test that this is all working, we can just go play and then press the apostrophe key. This will bring up debug mode, then press the number pad and 4, and this will basically bring up the AI's vision, so we can see it as these green lines. And if I just go and see, you can see that sphere. That sphere basically represents when the AI saw me. So with this, our AI now has some vision. So the next thing to do is basically make it so the AI will basically move towards the player when it sees them. If we open up the enemy blackboard and go add new key and just select an object, and we just want to call this enemy. Then if we go to key type and change this to be an actor, then we just want to save this and go over to our enemy behavior tree. Sorry, my project just crashed, so I just saved this, and then if I go over to my behavior tree, I just want to delete this service and then select this and change the key of this to be my enemy, and then I'm just going to delete this wait task for now, drag off here and look for the rotate to face BB entry, and then I'm going to select my enemy. This will just make it so my AI will rotate to face towards the enemy. We can save this. Then if we close this and go over to the enemy AI controller, we want to just select AI Perception, scroll down and go on Perception Updated. So this will basically fire whenever our AI sees something. What we want to do is just drag off here and look for each loop. So this will basically fire for however many things our AI sees. What we want to do is just drag off here and cast to the third person character, or whatever character you're using inside of your game that you want the AI to detect. And then if we can see the third person character, it's going to be able to fire off here. And what we're going to do is just right click and look for Get Blackboard. So this will allow us to basically reference our blackboard for our behavior tree. Then we just want to right click and look for Make Literal Name, so this one, and then make sure that this is spelled exactly how you spelt the enemy inside of the blackboard here. So mine's just called enemy. I'm just going to copy this to be safe and paste this here. Then we just want to drag off here and look for set value as object, and then connect from key name into here, and from BP third person character into here, and from here into here. And what this will basically do is set the third person character as the enemy inside of our behavior tree. So now if I go compile and save and close this, if I go play and my enemy sees me, we can see it moves towards me and then it rotates towards me. Nice. So with this, our AI can see and then chase the player. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to create custom tasks inside of the behavior tree in case you ever want to do that. So if I just go to my enemy behavior tree, I'm going to go create new task, and I'm just going to call this my BTT task underscore attack. And when I run this task, I'm going to make my AI attack. So to do that, we can just right click and look for event receive execute AI. So when our AI receives this task, what we can do is just drag off here and cast to the enemy, and then this will basically allow you to reference any data inside of the enemy. For now, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm just going to drag off here and look for the print string, and then I'll make it say attack to make it seem as if my enemy is attacking me. And then when creating tasks, we just need to drag off here and look for the finish execute node and make sure that this is checked. If we don't add this and check this, then the behavior tree won't know that this task has finished and it will fail. So make sure to have the finish execute and make sure that this is checked to let the behavior tree know that this task has successfully finished and done what it's needed to do. We can compile and save this. If we go back to our behavior tree, I'm just going to drag off here, then I can go to tasks, and you should be able to see your BTT task attack. Then I can just add it. Then I'll just drag off here and look for wait. and then I'm just going to make this 2 seconds. So when our AI sees the player character, it'll move towards them, then rotate towards them, then it'll attack them, and then it'll wait 2 seconds. So we can save, close, and test this out. So now if I click play, and let's say I stand in front of my enemy, it'll move towards me, rotate, then attack me, and then wait 2 seconds. Nice. So that's how you'd create custom tasks inside of the behavior tree. Hello. Next, I want to show you how to make the behavior tree a bit more advanced. So if we just open up the behavior tree, we can just drag off here, and we're gonna go over how to use the second composite, the selector. For now, if we just connect from here into here, and then we're gonna create another sequence, and then I'll explain how this selector node works. If we just drag off here and look for sequence, under this sequence, we're gonna make our AI randomly move around the map. So we just drag off here and look for move to, and then for Blackboard key, if we select location, then right click, go add service, and select random location. And then for the Blackboard key, select location, then just drag off here and look for wait. And I'm just gonna make this 3 seconds. So the way this selector node will work is it will allow us to run one subtree at a time. And it also executes in the order of from left to right. So first it's going to try and execute all the nodes here, then all the nodes here. So with this selector, the way it's going to work is first it's going to try and run the tasks here. So make our AI move towards our enemy, then rotate towards them, then attack them, and then wait 2 seconds. And then with our selector, if all of this is successful, then it's just going to repeat all these nodes again. So it's only going to run all the nodes here, and it will never end up running the nodes here. However, if say our AI does not have an enemy to move to, then this is going to fail, and then the sequence will go up, and then because the sequence fails, the selector is then going to run the nodes here. So if our AI cannot see an enemy, then this will fail, and then it's going to repeatedly run the nodes here. So to test this out and show what I mean, if I go save, close this, and then go play, when my AI can't see the player, it's just going to move randomly around the map every 2 seconds. Then when it sees me, it is going to move towards me and attack me. I want to show you something, so I'm just going to make this wait time 7 seconds, go save, then go play, and then make the enemy move. So if I stand in front of my enemy now, you'll notice that it's not chasing me. It has to wait till those 7 seconds have passed, and then it'll begin to chase me. If we just open up our enemy behavior tree, what we can do is add a decorator. Decorators kind of perform certain checks on our behavior tree, and if those checks are basically true or false, it can make it so certain behavior tree nodes start running or stop running. So what we can do is just select the sequence here, right click and go add decorator, then select Blackboard, select this, and just call this can see enemy. For the Blackboard key, make sure it's enemy. So right now, the nodes underneath here are only going to be able to fire and run if the condition of this Blackboard is basically true. So the enemy has to be set in order for these Blackboard nodes to start running. With the Blackboard decorator, we can also make it so it can stop other nodes in our behavior tree from running. If we go over to this notify observer, basically whenever the condition of this Blackboard changes, it can update how our behavior tree works. So right now, the observer of blocks is on none. So right now it's going to do nothing. If I change this to be self, this will make it so if the condition of this Blackboard is basically not met, then it will stop all these nodes from running. If I change this to be lower priority, this will make it so this subtree will abort itself and stop running the nodes here if the enemy becomes invalid. If I change this to be lower priority, this will make it so the lower priority subtree will basically stop when the enemy is set. And if I change this to be both, this will basically make it so it aborts both of these nodes. So for the time being, just leave this at both, and then basically whenever the value of this changes, it's going to kind of update. So now if I just close this and go play, when my enemy moves, and then if I say move in front of it, it's going to be able to abort what task it was doing and then chase and attack me. Nice. So that's one final thing I want to do, and that is kind of just polish up my enemy a bit. So what we're going to do is just create a simple animation blueprint for our enemy so that it can chase us smoothly and nicely. If I just go over to my characters folder, to my mannequins, to animations, I'm gonna go over to Manny. If we just right click and go animation, select legacy, then blend space 1D and select the SK mannequin, and I'm just gonna call this my enemy blend space 1D. If I double click and open this up, under assets I'm gonna look for idle, and I'm just gonna drag the idle, and then I'm gonna look for run, and just drag the run forward to where it says 100, and then under asset details look for sample interpolation and just make this 5. This will just make it so it smoothly transitions between the idle and the running animations. We can save this, and then we are now going to create an animation blueprint for our enemy. So we just right click and go animation, select animation blueprint, and select the SK mannequin, and I'm just going to call this my animation blueprint enemy, and I'm just going to right click and look for state machine, connect this into here. Then if we double click and head inside here, we want to find the enemy blend space 1D that we just made, connect this into here. To control the value of whether our enemy is basically standing still or running, we can just right click here and go promote to a variable and call this speed. To control the value of the speed, we want to go over to the event graph, just drag off this try get pawn owner. This will just get the owner of whatever is using this animation blueprint. We want to check to see that it is valid, and if it is valid, then we can just drag off here and look for get velocity, and then from here we can just drag off and look for vector length. This will tell us the speed of whatever is using this animation blueprint, and we just want to drag in speed, set it, and then connect it into here. Then we just want to go compile. Then if I just go over to my AI folder and to the enemy character, I'm just going to select my mannequin, and then we want it to use an animation blueprint, and we want it to use the animation blueprint enemy. And then in order to make it so our character basically smoothly rotates, we want to select character movement, and under details look for rotation, and just check orient rotation to movement. And then under the enemy blueprint, just uncheck use controller rotation yaw. And if I just go to my enemy behavior tree, just delete this rotate to face BB entry, because using this method whilst also disabling this, it will kind of have weird results. So just delete this, because these settings will just kind of make it so the enemy automatically rotates to whatever it's kind of chasing. And then we can just save and test this out. So if I go play, my enemy now has some animations, and when it sees me, it will smoothly chase me. Then to actually polish things up, I'm just going to give my enemy a prototype attack animation. I'll make sure it's included somewhere in the link in the description of this video. If you just download it and then drag it into this folder, so it's called zombie attack. When you import it, you want to select the SK mannequin skeleton and just go import. Then if you just right click on this animation and go create animation montage, then just go over to the characters folder, to mannequins, to animations, and find the animation blueprint that we made for the enemy. Go over to the blend space 1D and then to the animation graph, and just drag off here and look for default slot. This will allow our enemy to basically play animation montages. If we just compile and close this, then if we just go back to our AI and go over to the enemy behavior tree, during the attack task, what I'm going to do is just delete this attack string and drag off this as enemy BP and look for play anim montage, and then just select the zombie attack montage and connect from here into here. Then if we go compile and close and go play, when our enemy goes up towards us, it will play an animation of it attacking, and then it will wait 2 seconds. And one more fix, because sometimes the enemy kind of interrupts our player character's camera, what we can do is just open them up, and we just want to go to that capsule, and for collision change it to be custom and make it ignore the camera, and also just go over to the mesh and do the same thing. So change this to be custom and make it ignore the player character's camera, compile and save. This will make it basically ignore our player's camera, and with that we've created an AI which basically will randomly roam around. Then when it sees our player, it will try and attack us. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you've learned how to use behavior trees inside of Unreal Engine, and if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!